when I ask you to compare an hourglass to a clock for me.
They both tell time passage.
Yeah, but like what are the differences?
One is quiet and one goes tick, tick, tick.
It's interesting. Like, I feel like when I look at a hourglass in use, I think of almost like a timer.
It's more like if I was cooking something and I needed to know when it was done cooking.
Like, when you're thinking of a clock broadly, you're thinking of a measure of an ability to capture and convey the meaning of time to somebody else in a broad term. And once you make an hourglass, you're taking that broad idea of time and making it very specific for a reason, right? So I don't know if this is to imply that John Titor only has a specific amount of time that he's able to visit a world line or to visit like a place at once, or it's like you only have so much, like you have pockets inside of time that you're able to work within. You know what I mean? Time travel's so messy.
I mean, I like the idea that it maybe you only have a specific amount of time, like an hour or something. Because if you think about the timeline of the happenings at the radio building, why wasn't he able to stop her getting this version of him that came back or tried to stop her from getting stabbed? Why wasn't he able to? Did he run out of time and him screaming was him getting zapped out of there basically and he ran out of time to save her? Did he get there at 12 o'clock, was like, I need to save her within this time, and by 12:56 he was about to disappear and she was already stabbed? Like, is there a timeline, an amount of time that he can be traveling?
All right. So episode 1, the second time he comes back to the classroom is when it's packed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when the lecture starts, and then he calls out the professor for potentially plagiarizing and using the same ideas that John Titor said, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the first issue that we had there, like in the first example, when not as many people showed up. Why do you think not as many people showed up? Perhaps because the professor didn't have as much of a grounded lecture to say, because he had no way of coming up with an idea, because John Titor might not have existed in that timeline. You know what I'm saying?
So I like that. And he canceled his lecture.
Yeah.
In the timeline we are currently in, the Nakabachi or something, I think was the professor's name that was going to do the lecture. He canceled, and Kiyomo says something along the lines of, he was running away. And there was only like 4 people up in the front, but he wasn't there. The professor wasn't there. And he canceled. Where was I going with that? I knew where I was, and then I lost
I was
where
talking
I was.
about the idea of like him not having the influence of John Titor.
And he canceled because he didn't have the influence, but then in the timeline we had seen previous or afterwards, the guy was there and he reacted to being called out about John Titor.
So that exists a world where everybody in the room knew John Titor existed because they agreed with Okarin's assessment.
So in the world line that John Titor did go to 2000, then the girl gets stabbed.
That is
in
the
that
timeline that Carissa gets stabbed, correct.
And that she interacts with him and that he had interacted with her.
Yeah.
Previous to him going to her lecture, which we also saw in this episode.
Yeah. So, like, if we have, like, in chronological order, like, 3 different timelines, right?
Yeah.
Like, just for fun, right? For a couple minutes. Like, the first one exists of John Titor doesn't exist, right?
Or doesn't go back to 2000. Because he said, well, I wouldn't go to 2000.
John Titor's books don't exist. Right? Is that fair? And then the second we'd have that he does, and that would influence the professor. And then that would also be the one that he doesn't exist includes Mayuri and Okarin sitting in the classroom about to talk about it when they go up to see the satellite landing, right? And we had no mention of Karisu there. And this one, the one that we're currently in, where we ended the episode, I feel like would have to be a third, because after it's like, it seems like after Maori diverged with the passing of the grocery store bags, like, that set us on a motion to where we're at the end of the episode, where John Titor doesn't exist, but... Fuck. John Titor doesn't exist in this moment, and...
Well, that's the thing, is I don't think...
Cariso's still alive, so that would just resemble the first timeline again.
I don't think you should phrase it necessarily as John Titor doesn't exist. I think that it needs to be John Titor 2000 or John Titor not 2000.
Okay.
Because that's the marker of time, and John Titor in this message board says he didn't go to 2000.
Okay, but so the whole time that Ocarine is looking at the computer, is this all the same thing? Because he's reading up on John Titor, right?
And there's only like 7 search results, and I believe the John Titor in the message board says that he either wouldn't have gone to 2000 or didn't have a reason to or something like that. But John Titor exists in this timeline. He just didn't choose to go to 2000 and write books and talk about time travel. And that's the real marker of the beginning.
You're right.
I would say.
So that same one would be potentially, like in theory, the opening scene of our first episode, where the classroom isn't full and the satellite lands on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then when John Titor writes the book in 2000 is an example of when Kurisu is dead.
Yes,
and then
stabbed.
So is there the third option that Kurisu is the one who runs the lecture? And is that, because that can't be the same as the first, where he didn't write the books.
We can't know for sure that when he runs out of the room of that original lecture at the radio building with Kurisu, that once he goes behind the wall and looks at the phone at the static, and then he hears a scream, and then she's stabbed, those don't necessarily have to be the same line.
Yeah, okay, alright. That's fucky. Alright. That's nonsensical as shit. But okay, let's go on with the episode.
Because he disappears from her view. It's not like he's walking with her and staying with her in a singular moment. So then we have no idea as the viewer.
Imagine being like the outlier in this world, where if you do try to go back into a different like world line or whatever, you're the one person, you're the one constant who can never meet themselves, and you're constantly going in between lines, and you're not able to meet yourself for some reason.
I could just see this being an infinite, like, what if there was something you were trying to prevent, and you just you were like, okay, say you had a loved one, and in your timeline, they die. And so you go back, and you make that not happen, and they survive. So then that starts another timeline where they died, and where then now you have one that they survived. And then, so, like, you know, and I feel like it would just be this endless cycle of, well, now there's also still one where they died, and...
Yeah.
You would just be constantly trying to affect different world lines to make them all be the way that you want them to be.
So in this moment, right, when we're getting our main character sitting at the computer, he says John Titor with a question mark at the username. And then he said that I didn't think I'd see some idiot pretending to be Titor now. Doesn't that mean that instead, in this world or world line, instead of appearing in 2000, this could be the first time John Titor... It's ever appeared.
I love that you're saying that, because he's like, oh, I can't believe some idiot would pretend to be him now.
Yeah.
No one would pretend to be him now. There's only 7 search results for this guy, and it's probably just posts he's made on the internet that, like, no one has read.
So in this...
That's the real John Titor.
Yeah.
In this timeline.
Exactly. And instead of going to 2000, he came here.
And so he's interacting probably with the real one.
What's gonna happen when John Titor and Ocarine meet?
I have something to pose with that.
He could,
what
like,
if he's John Titor?
Books to him.
What if he's John Titor?
I said that during the reaction, but I said it half joking.
Well, he already gave himself a new name.
Yeah, but
he's someone who creates aliases. This person came back from 2036 to 2000 America, gave himself the name John Titor. You know? It could be...
Didn't
we
see
saw
John Titor?
A chin, I think. I think we saw, like, the chin of someone when it was being referenced. I don't know if it was the first episode or the second episode. It was, like, a shot that was just the lower part of someone's face.
Here. Hallucination, at channel, time travelers here. It could be here. No, this is the explanation, I think.
I think it might have been in the first episode.
Really?
Possibly. Gosh, there's so much.
There is so much. Regardless, though, what do you think about what's her name? Moeka.
Is that the woman that was taking pictures of him?
Yeah.
There's something definitely interesting going on there. There's
Proof of where I walked today, what I saw.
That sounds like someone could be stuck in a similar situation of the day that our main character is having, where things are changing, and then when she interacts with different people, they don't remember a thing that she remembered.
Yeah.
How isolating, and I mean, this episode was paranoia. Time travel paranoia. Like, that is exactly what we're seeing kind of being bred from what's happening to him, and we're seeing another character seemingly responding to their own paranoia that could be totally with the same thing.
If her phone works like our main characters, potentially data of hers be deleting if she was going in between world lines too?
Possibly.
Like,
maybe that's why she tries to, like, take everything, and so that hopefully she'll have some of it.
Yeah.
So maybe it helps her know which world she's in, which world line she's in, because then if she looks at her photo library, she'll know, what did I do in this world line, where I was in that world line. It could be almost like a diary for each world line.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like, to like constantly taking pictures so that you're able to identify which one you're in, because it's not like it has a number.
And then you wouldn't be like going up to someone like a friend and being like, "Oh, I had fun at the park with you today," and they'd be like, "We didn't go to the park today." If you had looked at your phone, you wouldn't see pictures of the park.
Yeah. With
so and so friend.
You're right. What do you think the IBN 5100 is? Do you think that is like a time machine, or that's the source of that's a computer? Do you think that's like that's the beginning of it? Like that's the root, that's the seed?
I think it's interesting to bring up a retro PC, especially with how our main character likes to talk into TVs as if someone is spying on him. So there's definitely an interesting relationship with technology and using technology. Maybe this original PC, something about it could be used and created into a time machine. It's a retro, rare PC that people are trying to get their hands on and they can't find. Yeah. No one can find it. Maybe she's trying to find it.
So, was it the Mayushi banana that
I don't think so.
What?
It was the one at the very end that they took off, because you can see when they put it back on the table where it was pulled off.
Yes, but I can't see which banana has the writing on it.
It seems like it's in the middle of the bunch.
Do we get a wide shot of that? Because look, it does.
But doesn't it look like it's like the second or third banana?
It does, yeah. But
and you can tell from this shot that one has been taken off the end.
And we don't see it in the microwave, do we?
Mm-mm.
But we don't see it back on the table either, right? So it's definitely not the one with writing on it. That's
the
confirmed.
writing could have just been a cute detail about how she writes on things, so we would think about the metal upa.
Yeah, but it's like when we see the banana again, or the pack again, we don't see the writing on it. Like, where's the writing anywhere on it? We get several shots from different angles, and it's like, where's the property of Mayushi? It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem like it was it affected the whole thing. Her existence there is gone now. That's fucking crazy.
Because in this timeline where the banana ends up back onto the bunch, she hadn't written on it.
Maybe, I don't know. Then we get Karisu coming in at randomly here. What do you think? Why is she here?
Is this the timeline still where he spoke out and objected at her lecture? And so maybe she's intrigued by him?
But intrigued different.
But doesn't make you barge into someone's home.
Yeah. Does she know more? Is she from the future too? Is she from the organization? Does she know more than we do? Everybody knows more than we do.
Was she testing him when she in amusement spoke to him during the lecture? Was she trying to hear how smart he was, maybe hear how far along he was?
Yeah, or how far along he was, or if he had figured something out yet, maybe.
Because we're one of our guesses might be that he's going to be the one that creates it, and some people know that and are going to try to steal it from him.
What if him screaming upstairs that led him to Karisu in the first episode was literally just him upstairs. He could have met himself there. And it was another version of him reacting to Karisu's death first.
Just fun stuff to go with for that. One version, he's the one that stabs Karisu. One version, he dies. And the scream was him dying.
Yeah.
But when we go up to the room, she's stabbed. It could have been him in that room fighting with her.
Yeah.
Maybe she was going to stab him.
Maybe.
Self-defense.
I like Daru a lot. His design's really cool, and I think he's my favorite character at the moment.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did he say about it's a 3D girl with a 2D soul?
Oh, yeah, 2D soul. I was like, oh, that's such a good line.
That made me like really happy for some reason.
Well, I still have nothing to go off of for the sender being SG-EPK at JTK92X29.
Wasn't there a comma in there? Is that a comma?
I think that's a point.
Oh, 2.2?
Yeah. JTK, John Titor something. Maybe. EPK. What if it's a translation? EPK, the code word is El Sai Kongro. Maybe the Kongro.
At John Titor.
In Japanese, they don't have C's, right? It's K's, kon. So it could be a like misstep there. L, like it's an abbreviation for it, no? SG, Steinsgate, that dash, EPK, El Sai Kongro, at John Titor Kiyoma. Which is his name, 92. I feel like I'm in National Treasure. I don't know what the 92 is yet.
9 minutes into... No. 92 seconds into episode 2. No.
92x29. So they're mirrors of each other.
Mirrors of each other.
In Japan.
Which could mean that John Titor is Kiyoma.
Yeah.
They're mirrors of each other.
Holy shit.
Ah! More evidence for my theory that he is John Titor. I thought you were so crazy for writing down that sender email.
That's pretty compelling. I'm not saying that like we're right on.
No, it's just fun.
But that's pretty fucking compelling. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, I'm sorry. I've devolved into fucking insanity. Okay. Alright, that's all I have.
It's so early to do that too.
I know.
You're even drinking a Dr. Pepper. It's supposed to make you more intellectual, apparently.
No, I'm diet.
Oh, it's not working.
God damn it, the calories. Time travel.
It's what stimulates the brain.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.
In another world line, you weren't drinking diet.
The better one. I've devolved into fucking insanity. I've devolved into fucking insanity.
I've devolved into fucking insanity.